Eagles! Oh. Ultimate nuclear meltdown. I didn't realize you guys had a reactor that was so hot like that in Philly. Or I didn't really realize that you had a nuclear reactor at Citizens Bank. But you had a meltdown. That is what we call a 3 Mile Island meltdown. Okay? 3-2 lead in the NLCS. And as usual, the pitching ends up letting down Philly. Hey, you never build your team around bats. You build your team around arms. Arizona's in the World Series, and so are the Texas Rangers. They're in the World Series because of arms, not because of bats. It reminds me of that Kansas City series. When Kansas City, a couple of years back, won the World Series. They didn't win it with Markakis and them guys. They won it with pitching. Oh, man. What an absolute collapse. 3-2 lead in the NLCS. And this goes down clearly in one of the sad moments in Philly sports history. Do you guys realize that you've never really had any kind of dynasty whatsoever in your city outside of the Flyers? I mean, if you think about it, have you ever had a back-to-back champion in anything? Have you ever won like multiple titles in a 4 or 5 year span? Probably not, right? Only the Flyers. Flyers got to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. You know what's really crazy about that Flyers team? You know how good they were? That I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tone, from 1975 until 1988, which is like 13, 14 years, I think only 4 teams won the Cup. Flyers, Islanders, Canadiens, and Oilers. Oh, yeah. Okay, Flyers, Oilers, Canadiens. I think there's only 4 teams in that time span that ended up winning multiple Stanley Cups or Cup at all. Shows you how dominant those teams were. I mean, crazy. So anyway, that was the ultimate nuclear meltdown last night. And now you got all and total football as you go forward here in the fall. You know what? I got to say something to you. And you know what? I'm not going to kid you right now about dual threat. That had to be one of the weirdest press conferences I've ever seen. Hey, and do me a favor. Tone, is there like a Wednesday injury list that comes out and then the actual injury list comes out on Thursdays? Okay? I want to know if Hurts is on that list. Because if they're addressing it, they're either lying or he's hurt and they didn't report it. Look at what Atlanta's going through right now with B.J. Robinson. Look at what they're going through with him. They're being questioned on when the guy was injured or not. So I think the Eagles are going to get fined for this. I mean, have you been hiding a knee injury of the quarterback of your football team for the last 3 or 4 weeks? And what was it? The really weird conversation? Well, he's learning to play with it. So how long has he been injured? And for you to mention it, it has to be significant. Or why mention it? I'm really confused in this. And again, this is not something that you goof around with now. This is something that's becoming serious because it's a convoluted message. What is it? Why are you, if he's not on that injury list, why are you even bringing it up? Or are you preparing us for today's listing of Hurts being on the injury list? I listened to Jalen and I listened to Sirianni. Yeah, he will know more today. What? Since when is it to the point where we'll know more today but he looks like he's a go, but we'll know more today. It's kind of like double talking. Either you're lying or he's hurt. And if he's hurt, you didn't post it on the injury list, you're going to get fined for this. You're going to get fined. Especially if you're telling me he got hurt in a Jet game. Prince goes, it happened in the Rams game on the 3rd and 11 play. You know what, Prince? I never knew he was injured. McMullen filled me in on the rules. The only way the team has to list the player on the injury list is if he was limited participating or less in practice. If the player participates in full practice, you don't have to list them. And you know how you can hide that? By just giving him lesser reps in practice. He could practice 3 plays and Mariota get a ton more plays, or you can do different drills, actually, to hide the injury so that they don't have to list it. There's all kinds of ways of getting around that rule. And teams do that. Remember how many times Brady and Belichick wouldn't list him? He'd have like a hand injury, or he'd have like a back injury or knee injury. They would limit the type of plays that they would have in practice, and they would change some of the drills that they would do so that you can participate full, but not really participate for the entire scrimmages or drills that you go through on a week-to-week basis. You can get around those rules, and teams do all the time. It's how you hide injuries and not have to list them. I just don't get it. Okay, so why then why make it a thing? Then now all of a sudden, why come public? And by the way, if he's not on that injury list, why would the Eagles bring that up? Are they making an excuse for his play? Not that he needs one. I'm not suggesting Jalen needs an excuse. I think there's a lot of fundamental things that are causing some of this stuff. And mostly not on him. I'm not in that play. I never even thought about that. Hey, is his injury causing him to have maybe some struggles in holding the ball too long? I never even thought. I thought it was more about the developing plays that are plus 25 and they're bigger routes. That's all I looked at it as. So Jalen's hurt. If you take the Eagles at their word, he's hurt. Significant enough for these things. One, to bring it up. Second, to make an issue out of it. And third, to tell us we'll know more today. Okay? ESPN listed him as questionable on Monday, October 23rd. But it was because he had a brace on, which led to the report speculating, hence the questionable tag. But then the organization acknowledged it today. Now, ESPN on the 23rd brought it up. Nick validated it. Nick validated it today. He's hurt. Now, you just don't know what level. They did the same shit on his shoulder. Remember how we found out? We found out through Peter King. We didn't find out through anybody in the Philly media. Because Jalen was talking to Peter King and he said, I could barely raise my arm in the playoffs. That's how we found out it was more significant. Remember? It wasn't anything anybody was reporting in Philly. Shit, we woke up one Monday morning and went, what? Peter King? By the way, nobody's questioning toughness here. Nobody's questioning whether he'll play through this. I'm not even there yet. I'm trying to figure out what the Eagles are doing. If he's not on that injury list today, okay, let's just put that out there. If he's not on that injury list, why would you even bring attention to it? Why? Because ESPN? Who cares what they think? Give a shit what ESPN thinks. They're not the NFL. I don't have to have any bylaws or answer to ESPN because they post some stupid shit about an injury potentially. Who are they? The only people I have to care about are the NFLPA and the National Football League on Wednesday and Thursday's injury reports. I don't give a shit what a media outlet posts. regardless of the reports, one fact we do know is he's dealing with something. Anyone with eyes can see it, especially in that Sunday night game. I don't know why people think it's rumors and such. Hurts is definitely battling through something right now. Hey, and by the way, I'm going to kind of tie this into, I'm going in a completely different angle here, in a different place here. I'm talking more about the team and Howie here in a minute here. By the way, Blaine Bishop, part of the broadcast team for the Tennessee Titans, does a post and pregame show for the Titans. Also, former Titan himself, 4-time Pro Bowler. We're going to talk to him about A.J. Brown and also the brand new acquisition in Kevin Byard. We're going to get his thoughts on what's going on in Tennessee. Can't hear you. Can you speak up for us? Yeah, sure. Hey, Maniac, all good, Bubby. Look at Ho. Yelling? You must just be new to the show, ding dong. I'm Italian. I'm loud. Either you like it or you don't. You can go back to your church choir anytime you want. I'm a loud Italian, brother. Relax. You don't like it? I'm sure there's some sermon you can go and talk to and, go and have a nice little conversation with somebody. I'm loud and I'm Italian. Okay, Ho. I love Ho, though. Ho-Ho. He reminds me of Ho-Hos. Love Ho-Hos. Hurts was hurt in New England. He ran to the left and took that one shot to the left knee where the fumble flew out like 5 yards, my God. That's a good one. So you think he's been dealing with it since week 1. Yeah, no, I love Ho. Hey, Ho don't like me hollering. Sorry, Ho. I'm a little deep in this here. That's okay, Ho. I love, me too, Carson. I love Hoes too. I'm a Ho. So is he hurt? Dual threat. Dude, you better get everything you can out of this guy. It ain't going to be long. This is not going to last long. It can't. Okay? This is why you know what? I would make this point to you. This is why they're probably in such a hurry to get him in the pocket and teach him to be more of a pocket guy because they want it to last. He says he got hit in the pocket. Great. Wonderful. People think and go, well, he didn't get out in the perimeter. Well, let me just say this to you. So he got hit being a normal quarterback. What happens when he's not a normal quarterback and he's dual threat and he has to get out in the perimeter? So now you're taking that part of his game away? Dude, he's not those other dudes. That's why you have high turnovers. There's no question that the reason that you have a ton of interceptions through the first 7 ball games is because this guy's being asked to do something and he's limited on something else. Hey, get this. This is maybe why he's even sliding and pre-sliding. Maybe he is the New England game that he got. He got hit pretty low, and I remember that play. I remember that play now. He got hit, that ball squirted out like that. I remember that play. I thought he hit him on the knee too. I thought 8 is a ton. Yeah, when you had 6 last year. Look at Keon. 8 is a ton? Yeah. When you've already gone past your MVP season total of a year ago? Yeah. You got 2 more INTs than you did all of last year in 15 ball games. I would think that's significant. Yeah, I do. That is a ton. And combine that with 10 turnovers. Yeah, that is a ton. Okay? Look at these guys. LJ goes, and Allen has 7. Allen will throw for 40 touchdowns, though. He'll double your guy in touchdowns. And he'll still win 13 games. You guys make that guy look like you think he has a bad season. He won 13 ball games last year. They went 13-3. That's a bad year? Holy shit, wait till they straighten that boat out. And he throws the ball 10 times more than your guy. But this guy, now this year, Jalen, is throwing it at the level of these other guys. It wouldn't shock me if Jalen has 15 interceptions this year. He's on pace for it now. Totally on pace for it. Very interested, man. The press conference, I don't get it. So hopefully we find out a little more as the day goes on here. I mean, okay. Is he playing Sunday? Is he playing Monday? Are we going to start seeing Marcus Mariota? I think it happened at the Jets game. If you go back and watch it, normal people would have torn their ACL on that play. The Jets game? Okay. I don't know. I didn't realize he was hurt until the last game. Okay. I didn't realize he was that. But guys, they're making it seem like he was hurt more now. Dude, all you got to tell, you really don't have to say anything until the Wednesday pre-injury report comes out, the preliminary injury list, then the Thursday injury list. And if they're hiding it, obviously what's happened here, if they've been hiding it the last couple of weeks, now it's getting to a point where it's significant and something they have to address. And that's why they're probably getting ahead of this. Okay? After listening to Jalen's press conference, he did everything possible to eliminate the media questioning his health. He sort of is taking your mindset in terms of not giving the media perfect what they want. He can't stop them from asking their questions, but he's definitely controlling the narrative. Fantastic, Jalen. Don't give those idiots anything. Perfect. And get this, perfect and patience you have to have here because he's going to be peppered with it. He's going to be peppered at a press conference, in his locker after practice, going into practice. Tomorrow he'll be questioned. He'll be questioned all the way up until game time against the Commanders. Okay? He'll be questioned all the way up until Sunday's game against the Commanders. You got to practice patience here. Okay? You got to keep your poise because these people are going to ask you every day about your health. And now what they're going to do is they're going to be watching you in practice, and they're going to be watching the Eagles more so. So now, my opinion, no question he's listed on that pre-injury list today. No question he'll be on that. Now, the question will be, is it going to be a game time decision, or are they going to go like this, limited practice? How are they? I'm going to be interested to see how they list him. Questionable? Questionable's vague. To what Tone just said here, questionable means vague. And that's what you want to be in situations like this, as vague as possible. Okay? You want this thing to be as vague as possible. You don't want to go, yeah, well, my knee, I heard it in this particular week, and this game this way, guy hit me here. You don't want to give any of that up. You want to do what Tone just said. You want to control the entire narrative of how this is being covered. And again, you cannot not make it a big deal. It's a quarterback that's a dual threat quarterback on the team that some think is the best team in the NFC. It's not a nothing burger. That is not a nothing burger. Now, does that make Howie go out and potentially get a running back now? We're going to look at some of the top names that are out there for potential deals. Okay? And there's some people that are out there. Would you make a move for Dalvin Cook? Would the Jets be interested in getting rid of Dalvin Cook? Would you put that guy in the backfield along with Swift? A lot of areas. Get this now. You know what people are saying around the NFL? They're taking my idea about Patrick Surtain and that the Eagles should give up a 1 and another 1 potentially. I'm not giving up 2 1s. I might give up 1 and 2 2s for him because the Denver Broncos are in a pickle. They may be forced to trade him. Okay? They may be absolutely forced to trade him because of the positioning that they're in. They've lost draft choices with Wilson and draft choices in first rounder with Sean Payton. They may be in a massive situation. Once again, media piggybacking off of what I've been saying about Patrick Surtain. Would the Eagles do that? We're going to look more at that. We're going to look at the roster. I'm going to look a little bit at Howie here. You know what? I am going to do that right now. I am going to do that. I'm going to look at the potential free agents here that Howie could take a look at right now. Because do me a favor here. How many people think Howie Roseman's finished making a deal before next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern? Do people think he's finished? Do people think Howie Roseman's finished? I do not think so either. You know why? I'm going to pull a page out of what Tone said yesterday. You think that guy's content on anything? You think that guy's happy with his, you think Howie Roseman in his mind, do you think he thinks he has the perfect roster? You think he thinks he has the perfect roster right now? Hey man, he's going to try to get that roster as close to what it looked like a year ago in talent. Okay? Here's again, I want to show you guys something here and some of the names now that are being thrown out that are potential deals for teams to make. Now, do I think some of these deals are a little bit too rich for Roseman right now, especially where he is in the season and how well his team is starting to play? I'm not sure he's looking to make a splash play. If he makes a splash play, I would think he would wait until March and wait till free agency to do something like that, okay? That, for me, is how I feel when it comes to big moves. The biggest name that's being floated around is Brian Burns, Carolina again. This is the second year in a row, okay? His name is being thrown around. Why do you think Brian Burns, the talented defensive end for Carolina, is being thrown around now? Why would you think? Why do you think Carolina's got his name out there? And by the way, Barb, you think the Giants are going to trade Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles in season? I mean, that'd be like the Red Sox and Yankees trading in season. Trade Slay, eat his money. 1 and 3 for Surtain. Why do you think that Brian Burns, his name is out there for draft picks to Carolina? Correct, Greg. Remember what they did last year to get up to Bryce Young? They pushed equity forward so that they could get up into that one spot. And in the process, they ended up losing draft equity, especially in the first round. They need to get some more offensive pieces around Bryce Young, offensive tackle, maybe another big-time wide receiver, so that they can go along with him and build the team with draft picks and get younger. And I think that's the reason why they're putting his name out there, because again, the only way you're going to recoup some of that draft equity that you gave to move up is by trading a talented player. The question would be, who would be willing to give up 2 1s for him? I think he's justified in getting 2 1s. Okay? But what team needs a defensive end right now with that kind of talent that'd be willing to give up on a 25-year-old, 25, 26-year-old all-pro defensive end? And would you give up 2 ones for him? Depending on where you are in the standings right now. Like if you are Kansas City, would you do something like that knowing full well you really don't have a pass rusher outside of Chris Jones? Would you do that? If you're Dallas, do you think you got to do something like that because you got to get tougher and you got to get closer to San Francisco? Do I think Dallas does that after listening to Jerry Jones? Absolutely not. If you're the Bengals or the Bills, do you want to do something like that to close the gap with you in Cincinnati or, excuse me, you and Kansas City? Do you want to do that? How about after what happened with the Eagles after the Eagles beat the shit out of the Miami Dolphins? Would you be willing to give up, again, some draft choices to go get Brian Burns? There's nobody in next year's draft Brian Burns' talent. And I don't give a shit about a first or second or third round draft choice coming out of college when you're talking to me about a player like Burns. There's nobody in the draft next year who will be an all-pro. That kid's an all-pro player today, 25, 26. It's dumb to talk like that. I'd give up the 5th pick for him. Well, I got the 5th. How many times have you seen guys who the 5th pick suck versus a guy who's known and he's a known quantity? It's dumb conversation. Cincinnati be a great fit for him. Ryan Tannehill's name. We're going to talk to Blaine Bishop because it looks like they've totally put the white flag up. You know what? I got to tell you something. Can I make a suggestion to you? Hey, Tone, I heard Rob say something, and I also saw it, and I thought it was peculiar when I saw Mike Vrabel in the Bob Kraft owner's box. Would it be possible Tennessee trades Mike Vrabel to New England? That's the next head coach of the Patriots. He's the next head coach of the Patriots. Would you trade Mike Vrabel 2 years ago, NFL Coach of the Year? Would you trade him to New England? Belichick steps down or steps up into the front office. He's your next head coach. I don't see too many players sitting in the owner's box who are currently active NFL head coaches. Does Tennessee and New England potentially at the end of the year have a deal cut already? Have they talked about this? Have they broached this? Wouldn't you find that to be a little bit like tampering in some way or somehow? It just looked unethical that the head coach of an AFC team, how do you know he's not giving them intel about the Titans or doing anything that personnel-wise telling Bob Kraft about the potential trading of Derrick Henry? How do you know he's not? It looks unethical. You got a current head football coach, not a fired coach. You got a head coach, one of the most revered coaches in the league, sitting in Bob Kraft's box, watching a game and him being inducted into the Ring of Honor. What were they talking about? The good old days? Okay, really? What were you talking about? The good old days? I mean, Tannehill's name's out. How about this one? If the Eagles beat the Commanders, could you see the Commanders moving Chase Young? By the way, Chase Young, 11 QB hits. He's playing good ball. He's not quite Chase Young of 2 years ago. I'll tell you what, he's better than Thibodeau. He's better than Thibodeau. And it looks like to me he's getting better every week. If you're the Commanders, do you move him? Because there's not a chance in hell you're re-signing him. There's not a chance. Seals, would you trade for linebacker White with the Bucks? Chaos. He's going to command a $20 million salary. It's not the Eagles' MO to pay that kind of money for an LB. Even though I think he's one of the better guys that's out there in the NFL. He's not quite Fred Warner, but he's in like the room of being the best LBs in the NFL. He's a tremendous player, captain of a Super Bowl defensive football team. I like him, sideline to sideline, tremendous leader. He's young. He's a great hitter. He can cover. He can do so many things for you. But I think the price tag for him is just a little bit too much. Chase Young could be a very interesting commodity for the Commanders to like throw out there. Who wants him? Who needs pass rushers? Shit, everybody needs pass rushers. Now, what will the Jets do with Carl Lawson? You want to hear something? He's been healthy and active the last 2 weeks. Why? He's a pretty good football player, edge rusher. The Jets may be trying to move him, and the reason that they've had him the last 2 weeks as healthy and act, they may be looking to deal him. Okay? They may be looking to deal him. Jerry Jeudy has turned out to be a complete flop in Denver. I wouldn't give you for Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, I wouldn't give you a 5th rounder for him. I think he's horseshit. I think his attitude sucks. I've never seen him at all in any way show me that he is a big-time football player. I have no interest in a player like that. Right now, he's currently ranked like the 30th best wideout in the NFL. Are you kidding me? Giving you a 1st or 2nd round for that guy? Don't come knocking on my door. Don't call Howie or don't call us. We have no interest in that guy. Okay, we are talking about bringing in all these young, high-performing guys. Can you theory craft who goes and who stays when money becomes a thing? Rage, that's something not yet that we really need to look at, but it's part of the process down the line. Like, you're not re-signing DeAndre Swift. You're just not. It's not going to happen. He's a one-year guy. He's going to go out in the open market and get more money. There's no such thing as hometown discounts with today's NFL players. Jalen didn't take one. Why should anyone else? Quarterback didn't take a discount. The Eagles did him solid by giving him the bag of money up front. Nobody takes pay cuts because unless you're 35 years of age or you're an older player and you want to call it a career in Philly. That's the only way you do it. You don't do that shit in your prime. So what? You're going to take less money in your prime because what? You're boys? When Howie would move you in 4 seconds if he had to. Makes no sense. Hometown discount? What do you think, you're in the 70s? I like the kid's Cortland Sutton actually more than I do Jerry Jeudy. Guy's got 21 catches. That leads the pack in Denver. You got to be kidding me. Hey, you know who's going to get a ton of looks? Hunter Renfrow. He's going to get it. You know why? The money. He ain't making a lot of money in Las Vegas. He's going to get a ton of opportunities to go to a place and help a team. Like, I could see Hunter Renfrow in Los Angeles with the Rams. I could see Hunter Renfrow in Kansas City with the Chiefs. Doubt the Raiders would want to do that in their own division. They probably want to try to get him more back into the NFC. Maybe the Cowboys. They need another wideout. I think Hunter Renfrow fits perfect in Dallas. Be perfect in Dallas. Daniel Hunter, how many years are we going to see his name potentially being moved in Minnesota? What's this now, the third straight year that they've been talking of moving him? He's a fine edge rusher. Really is. I got a guy here that I'm going to tell you here. This is a player, these next two players, I think there's something you can take a look at if you're Howie Roseman. You guys know who Jalen Johnson is? How many people know who Jalen Johnson is? You guys know who Jalen Johnson is? Have any idea? Ray goes, who? That doesn't shock me, Ray. Ray, that doesn't shock me. This guy's a really good corner. And very rarely do you have a corner that goes onto the market in season that's a quality guy. Tell you flat out, Jalen Johnson is as good or maybe better than James Bradbury. He's a good talent. And he won't cost you a lot. Now, with the Bears, trade with Philly. Would they trade with an NFC team? I'm going to tell you something, the difference also between Howie Roseman and Jerry Jones. Here's exactly. Hey, Tone, can you do me a favor? I thought that the kid, Jalen Johnson, I think he's either 24 or 25 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. This is the kind of guy that's a C.J. Gardner-Johnson sign or trade. Right there. That's a guy right there that is a guy that you go get. He's 24 years old. He's a quality football player at that corner spot. Fantastic talent. Fantastic. Look at the evaluations, Pro Football Focus. You know what they said about him? Pro Football Focus said that this guy here, being on the open market, very rarely do you see quality player and a player like this that's being floated around for potential deals. And he ain't going to cost you a ton of money. It's a typical Howie move. That's what I'm talking about. Even Justin Simmons, Broncos. Can't think that he doesn't want to get out of there. Safety. So I like this Jalen Johnson. Howie targeting him. You need a corner and probably a back. And these are the kind of deals right here. You just got to do a little homework and you got to do a little bit of due diligence in this. You know, they're throwing Patrick Surtain. Here, I'll show you this. This Jalen Johnson guy, is he Patrick Surtain? No. But what Howie did with the Kevin Byrd deal, the Byard deal, you know what he did with him? He's not quite Buda Baker, but he plays like Buda Baker, and he's cheaper, and I didn't have to give anything up for him. That's that guy's MO. That's your general manager's MO. And again, the difference between Jerry and Howie is this. Jerry thinks people are going to call him up and go, hey, we got a player that we think can make you and your team better. What do you think about that? Who in their right mind? Howie is proactive. Jerry is not he's just he's late. He's just late. He thinks he is so arrogant. He thinks team's mentality. We have someone that can help the Cowboys. That's why no one calls him. That's why he missed Gregory. That's why he missed the kid from Tennessee. That's why he missed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That's why he missed Hassan Reddick. That's why he missed Darius Slay. That's why he's missed on all these potential people out there because he's so arrogant. Howie doesn't mind begging. Jerry looks at it as begging. Hey, what do you want from this guy? His ego is so, that's not the job. The job is to try to get the best player possible, knowing full well the other team has to feel comfortable in getting the deal done. Jerry thinks that it's all one-sided and that he runs his business like he ran it when he ran his oil wells, when people were drilling for oil wells. Okay? And by the way, when I say begging, I say this. When you pick the phone up and you ask somebody for something, you can quantify it as a conversation or begging. I say this, if you want to take that and you want to go over the top that he's not, hey, I'll tell you what we'll do here. You're the one proposing the deal. You're the one asking. You're the one begging to make a deal with somebody. You can look at it any other way you want. I don't give a shit how you say it. Hey, listen, I want to make a deal here for A.J. Brown, and I'll give you this, this, and this. And then guess what that becomes? When Howie offers those deals up and he gives up quality picks, the other team on the other side, Howie Roseman has the leverage right now. I think Byard is better than Budda Baker. I do not. Because of skill, but because of durability, he hasn't missed a cent. Okay, there's something to that. He's constantly available. Dirty D, that's not a poor comment. That's not a poor comment at all. Okay, because you're looking at availability. Availability sometimes is more important than talent. Because talent, you can have it all in the world, but if it's in the tub, it does you no good, right? I get it. You're right. Okay, you're right. I would say this to you. Here again, how and where this is a great window for the Eagles right here. Between Wednesday and next Tuesday. Okay, you're looking at your football team going, how do I here? The great general managers and the great, they're on the phone every day. They're on the phone every day. They're on the phone every day because you know what? Why would you think that Howie Roseman is on the phone every day talking to every general manager on the planet? Would you guys have an idea why a general manager does that? Why do you think him being so proactive and Jerry, think about this one, Tone, everyone. Why do you think Howie Roseman's on the phone every single day, more so than most general managers? Kevin Colbert told me this, and Kevin Colbert was the former general manager of the Steelers, has been on this program numerous times. And Tom Telesco, we've had numerous general managers on. And do you want to know what Kevin Colbert told me why Howie does this? I will tell you why Howie's on the phone all the time. Has a feel for the market, upgrade talent. You guys are dead on. This is what you get. When you're out shopping players or you're out looking for value on players, you get a market understanding of what the value of your player is. What's been the one criticism in Dallas that Jerry doesn't know how to value his own players. He overvalues them because the only thing he knows is when he drafts them, that's how he sees them. Howie Roseman gets an understanding of what a player's value is. Like, look at Milton Williams. Milton Williams is a second or third round pick. If you were to deal him right now, they would be high picks, 2s and 3s. That's a player who doesn't start in Philly and hasn't lost his value since you drafted him. And you know what? I guarantee you, teams around the United States have contacted the Eagles wanting to know the availability of Milton Williams. There's not a chance Howie Roseman wouldn't give that guy up for anything less than a 1. He's too valuable right now as the swing man in that rotation who's number 1 in the league in rush defense. Do you understand that Milton Williams' value right now this year is escalating and moving up to where if you were to move him, you would have to almost get a 1 for him? He's part of a group that's in the #1 run defense in the NFL. The unit is getting better. Howie has kept value on a player who doesn't even start. That's when you know your equity in your roster. Jones doesn't know the equity in his roster. So when you're on the phone and you hear a guy go like this, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a 4 for Andre Dillard. Howie's going to go like this. He's going to call 5 more people and see if that matches what they think, and then they'll know what the value is and what they're going to do with Andre Dillard. Jerry Jones doesn't do that. Jerry Jones thinks that if guy he drafts in the first round is a first rounder, come hell or high water. When it's not the case, when you go on the open market, you find out, hey, do me a favor. What did the Cowboys get for Amari Cooper? You guys remember what Amari Cooper went to the Cleveland Browns for? This is a prime example of it. Here is a prime example of Jones not knowing the talent on his roster. Because he gave up a 1, didn't he? To the Raiders for Amari Cooper. Right? He gave up a 1. What did the Browns give the Cowboys for Amari Cooper? They gave him a 5th. Okay? Cleveland sent 2022 5th-round pick and swapped a 2022 6th-round pick with the Cowboys to acquire 4-time Pro Bowler, and last year had 1,000 yards. You don't think Amari Cooper could be helping Dak Prescott and the Cowboys out right now? Instead, you trade him away, and you gave a 1 and a 3 up to the Raiders, and you got, what was that? And you got a 5th and a 6th. For a guy, that's how you lose roster equity. That's why this guy, I'll tell you this, I question some of the shit he does, like the out of the sandbox stuff. But when it comes to putting the Rubik's Cube together, and it comes to the chess stuff, he's sensational at it. He's utterly sensational at this. On October 22, 18, the Raiders sent Amari Cooper to the Cowboys for the 2019 NFL Draft first-round pick. The Raiders would use a 27th overall selection to grab safety Jonathan Abraham, who remains on the team in 2021. And get this, and is underachieved. Not that the Raiders are good when it comes to draft selections. Okay? I mean, let's be candid here. The Raiders haven't been good in the draft in about 25 years. All I say is this to you, man. Yeah, well, they didn't draft Devontae Adams. They traded for him because they can't get the receiver right. And the one guy they had, they traded. That right there in a nutshell. See how he looks at guys like Budda Baker and go, who's like him? Who plays like him? It's a brilliant way of building your roster. It's to him, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. That's why when Howie makes a move, they don't look like, hey, how about this? How many people believed that the Gardner Johnson move prior to going in to the NFL season of 2022 last year, how many people believed that that was going to be the grand slam that it was, where the guy's now making $8 million in Detroit? How many people? That's funny. Oh, you guys are naming some of these Raider names? What if they won in 30 years? What if they won? Okay, you draft a couple guys here. Khalil Mack, they dealt. Josh Jacobs, they've been trying to deal. They want to get rid of those players. You're talking to me about players they drafted that they are dying to get off of. How crazy is that? Those are players they're trying to get out of their deals. When we made the move, I thought it was a solid move, but I definitely didn't expect him to pick up 6 interceptions, especially at safety, and they played him at a different position as well. Dallas will never win a Super Bowl while Jerry is there. Jerry only knows how to build a team pre-salary cap era. That's pretty much the truth. I would say this to you here. What Howie does, Howie looks at players like Kevin Byard goes like this. Man, I'll tell you what, that guy reminds me a lot of Buda Baker. But you know what the better thing is? He plays like him, and he's on the field more than him. And he's not expensive. It's $4 million versus 20. And you're telling me that I can get almost the same kind of numbers at the, you know what? Can I say this to you? It's almost like how he plays Moneyball. It's like a version of Moneyball, especially on the defensive side. It's like Moneyball. I could argue the Byard move is better because he actually is a safety by trade and truly understands the role and responsibilities and comes with ball skills. Hey, and you can make the comment that it's a better move than trading for Buda Baker because I don't want to get hit with a tag of $20 million. I'm not paying a safety $20 million. That ain't especially happening in Philly. That ain't happening. He ain't paying $20 million. He ain't paying $20 million for a tackle. Now, he may do this with these two dudes he got in there now because they're his homegrown kids. Okay? Well, and that leads me to something else before I get into the topics. The last 2 years for Roseman, the Eagles only have to pick up less than $3 million of Byard's deal to be on the roster. By the way, I would not be shocked if he starts. I wouldn't be shocked if he starts. And the last 2 years, how about these impact moves? You get Reddick. You get Carter. You get A.J. Brown. You steal away Bradbury from the Giants. And you bring in Swift. I mean, of all these moves in the last, look at those two moves. Look at the last, let's just do the last 2 years. Reddick, you draft Jalen Carter. You trade for A.J. Brown. You sign Bradbury. And you trade on draft day for Swift. What's the best move in the last 2 years he's made? What's the best of those players? What's the best move he's made in the last 2 years, Howie Roseman? What would you circle? Reddick, Carter, Brown. I think those three probably supersede the other two, Bradbury and Swift, even though they're impact guys. Of those three moves, it's getting to a point where you're going to start putting Jordan Davis's name in there. Probably the AJ move. It was the missing piece to the offense and helped develop our quarterback. Hey, how about this? You think AJ's impact on the quarterback is good or bad this year? AJ's doing well. How's it been on the quarterback? AJ's development this year. Or Jalen's development. Now, there's determining factors, play calling, fundamental changes, injury. I made this comment yesterday to you about this kid Carter. And look at hey, how about this? The MVP in the NFC Championship game was not Jalen Hurts. It was Hassan Reddick. Okay? With all those turnovers, AJ's definitely masking some things. Michael Irvin said that. Michael Irvin said that A.J. Brown is covering a lot of the mistakes that Jalen makes in the passing game. He said that. He said that 2 days ago. 2 days ago, he said that. That guy A.J. Brown covers a lot of mistakes that he makes in the passing game. It's okay. Jerry Rice. You don't think Jerry Rice helped Joe Montana? I mean, it's not a rip. Great talented wide receivers and great talented quarterbacks help each other out. It's not a slam. Okay? We're going to get into this now. We're almost there at the midway point, but I wanted to start looking at player performances and where the Eagles are right now and their player performances. And I'm going to give these guys a grade for where we are pretty much in the halfway point of the season. And I'm going to look at the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to look at the offensive side of the ball here in a minute. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the coordinators also. My friend Tone's going to be with us for the segment at 3:30. Blaine Bishop, part of the broadcast team, will be with us from the Tennessee Titans. Also, thank you, Tone. Please do me a favor, guys. We'd love you to be part of our great contest that we have with our friends at Hooters. It's the 40th anniversary of our friends and the official sponsor of the National Football Show. We thank you so much with all the great people that have gone in to all 7 of the locations, all the way from Rhode Island, all the way down through King of Prussia, Jersey. 40th anniversary. Please find one of the 7 locations by going to northeasthooters.com. That's northeasthooters.com. Find that location nearest you, and you'll be able to understand what we're talking about here with our great contest. You send us all your information. You get a code word that Tone's going to throw out through the entire 4 hours of the program. You email us, dansileo@gmail.com. And on a football Monday, we will name the winners, and we will give you a chance to become one of the winners. It's part of what has been a great campaign so far. We can't thank you guys enough. And by the way, you want to hear something crazy great? With all the platforms that we put the show on, between the clips that James does, James, our IT guy, Tone, does such a great job. James, you know what a fan I am of you. All the stuff that Tone does for the show, everybody. We're almost approaching 4 million people a month that tune in to some sort of segment of the program. And it's really, really growing, and we really appreciate the fact that you guys are doing that. I saw some statistics the other day, and just folks checking us out like that. It's pretty awesome that we really appreciate you doing that. So thank you guys again. Do me a favor, send your information to dansileoshow@gmail.com. That code word will be thrown out there. We will name your name on a football Monday. We're going to take a look at each and every single one of the positions, and we're going to give them a grade on how well this football team is playing at the midway point of the season. I think some people are going to shock you where I'm going to go with them. You know, I went back and looked at a lot of tape on a lot of these guys. Okay. Hey, by the way, don't forget also, when you go into any one of the locations, northeasthooters.com, Also, HootersToGo.com. Go into any of the facilities, man. Buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983, all you can eat. Kids eat for free on Saturdays, all that. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. We appreciate you guys so much. Second hour of the program coming up. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.